Hello, it's Mrs Glasson. Welcome to Wonderful Words beginning with C. And it's worth saying right at the start that this isn't just for 11 plus students, it's for all English students or for anyone that's interested in this wonderful subject. Well, today I'm going to be curmudgeonly yet concise. You're going to be castigated and chastised. I'm going to be asking you 3 really significant questions about creative writing and comprehension. We're going to be considering consonantal repetition. I'm going to be teaching you some super synonyms and amazing antonyms. And the lesson is going to culminate in chaos and confusion. That's the name of the final test, and they're going to be little tests all the way through. So come on then, English students, what are we waiting for? Wonderful words beginning with C. Let's get going. And so we start with concise, meaning brief and short, but to the point. Something that you may have noticed, students, if you've been watching Wonderful Words 1, 2 and 3, that perhaps I am not, but perhaps I should be more concise and succinct. So brief, short, to the point. You may be asked to write summaries at school or précis, and then you should be concise and succinct. And having been alacritous at the start of Wonderful Words beginning with A, and bellicose at the start of Wonderful Words beginning with B, I did mention that I was feeling curmudgeonly. But what does that mean? Curmudgeonly, what a great word, meaning bad-tempered or irascible. And of course, irascible is a word that my foundation course and 11 plus revision course students will know very well. And you have been taught many more synonyms and lots of antonyms for irascible. And on that subject, here's the first question. I did mention I was going to be asking you questions and testing your knowledge this time. One synonym for irascible or curmudgeonly that you should all know, beginning with C-A-N and ending in S. And I say you should all know this mystery word because it's featured in the free lessons. So if you haven't taken the free lessons, why not? Go to www.mrsglasson.com. 2 free lessons featuring this mystery word, which is a synonym for curmudgeonly and irascible. Clue. The teaching of this word comes from my explanation and reference to a classic novel by Charles Dickens with the protagonist Ebenezer Scrooge. Do you remember him in his parsimony and his avarice? Well, if you remember him and you remember the free lessons and the lovely vocabulary that you learnt there, you will know this mystery word, C-A-N, ending in S. Now, related to that, imagine if you went to school and you behaved in a curmudgeonly, irascible way. You would quite rightly be told off or scolded by your teachers. Told off, scolded, they're not particularly ambitious words, but here are some very ambitious words, wonderful words in fact, beginning with C for told off or scolded. There we are, I told you they were wonderful. Chastised, castigated, chided. The children were castigated for their bad behaviour. He was chided for being irascible and curmudgeonly in the playground. They were chastised. Now, I also mentioned talking about alliteration. You didn't hear me? Well, yes, because I mentioned talking about consonantal repetition. And that, of course, means alliteration. Now, 11 plus students, certainly, you know that alliteration is an example of auditory imagery. So here is test 2. Alliteration, as you know, is a repetition of consonantal sounds. But what is assonance? Can you give me a definition? And what is sibilance? Can you give me a definition? Now, if you are an 11 plus student, certainly you should know these words. You should know alliteration, assonance and sibilance. Auditory imagery also. What are the 5 different kinds of imagery? They're all taught to you in lesson 5, and they really are key, not just to creative writing, as you know, but to 11 plus comprehension. Level and GCSE students, you will be familiar with all of these terms because, of course, they are key to successful literary analysis. So, test 2. Assonance and sibilance. What are they? Well, I did mention super synonyms and amazing antonyms. So here they are. Synonyms for scolded, admonished, reproved, upbraided, reprimanded, rebuked. Antonyms for scolded, praised, lauded, acclaimed, complimented. Now, looking at complimented there, meaning praised, it reminded me of these tricky words. So compliment, meaning praise, and compliment, as in, I like to have caramel syrup to complement my coffee. So in addition and to improve. Accompaniment, so that's compliment as a noun. But you can also use it as a verb. So for example, bookshelves done. I thought I'd have them done in that dull grey colour so that the books are quite vibrant against them. So I had my grey bookshelves done to complement my books. Here are the examples. Is the perfect complement, noun, to my coffee. The grey shelves complement my books. It's to a classic novel coming up. And my students will know this classic novella very well. Jekyll and Hyde. So Utterson and Enfield, you'll remember from the extract that I use for creative writing and comprehension. Utterson and Enfield are very, very different in personality. One is very quiet and taciturn and laconic, and the other is garrulous and outgoing and extrovert. And their personalities complement each other. And it's not just my live online students that are familiar with that novella. In the 11 Plus Foundation course, there are extension tasks based on that classic novella, and I teach about 40 words using extracts from it, and I teach multiple answer comprehension questions, and I also use it in mock test 1B for my comparative multiple answer mock test. So, compliment and complement. There they are there, tricky words. And on that subject, here are some more tricky words beginning with C that you should know, certainly my students know. Let's see what you make of them. Here are 4 tricky words beginning with C that are part of our vernacular. And yet they are tricky, because they do not mean the same thing. Continuous and continual. They mean different things. Counsel and counsel. Again, they mean different things. And you can imagine, as an 11 plus exam writer, I would love to use these words in a test because they are part of the vernacular. They are not words that are archaic, or they're not words that nobody's ever heard of, and yet they're a really, really good test of your spelling and of your vocabulary skills as well. And I do write 11 plus tests. As you know, I've got mock test 1A that's part of the foundation course, mock test 1B that's part of the revision course, and of course mock tests 2 and 3. Next time I write a mock test, I might just include the. So write out the answers. And if you don't know the answers and you would like to know, you can find them at www.mrsglasson.com. There's an extra lesson in the 11 plus revision course and an extra lesson in the foundation course, which focuses on the answers to the tests from the vocabulary tutorials. And English students, some really important words beginning with C: comprehension and creative writing. So test 4, comprehension, what are the 3 types? And you've been asked this question if you've done the 11 plus revision quiz. And if you haven't, you can see the video here. Make sure you take the 11 plus revision quiz. And creative writing. What are the 2 words beginning with C at the very top of the creative writing mark scheme? Now, 11 plus students, GCSE students, anyone that's doing creative writing, you must know the mark scheme and you must know how to write to the mark scheme. You must know how to please the examiners. And so that's the subject of quite a lot of the foundation course lessons, which allude to creative writing. And of course, I revise all of that in the revision course. So really essential. And you must know this. All excellent writing is this word beginning with C and this word beginning with C. So all of the wonderful writing behind me, all of the wonderful creative writing that my year 4s and my year 5s do and that you have been doing, if it's truly excellent and you're going to be awarded the top marks for creative writing, your writing must be. And to find out more about comprehension and creative writing, and most significantly to find out what you know already and what you need to know, take the 11 plus revision quiz. You can see it. It's one of the videos on here. I said that I was going to be concise. I've tried to be more succinct than I usually am. So what I've done is I have asked you some questions. And again, if you want the answers to those questions, go to www.mrsglasson.com. You can. There they are. These are fantastic synonyms. Can you finish off the words? So this was my homework for my year 5 students. And so, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have learnt some wonderful words beginning with C. And the great thing about this method of teaching and learning is that you can now go back and watch the video from the beginning. And if you've written the words down, my video will recontextualize those words for you. If you haven't written the words down, then make sure you write them down. Any words you don't know, and that's true in life. That's what I used to do. I used to love finding out new words and noting them down and looking up the definitions. I still do, actually. And you've got that wonderful thing called the internet. Elevate your lexis, make your diction more dexterous, and make your English exemplary. I will see you next time with wonderful words beginning with D. Take care.